look at Kerbal Space Program 2, for example. I'll show you guys. Kerbal Space Program 2 devs. Or cancelled. Oh, in fact, Bellion News has spoke about this.
Go curate for cash on Vin.
And of course, there's an advert. We'll watch this in the meantime.
A thornier question for Kickstarter backers. Intrepid committed to a lofty promise, and it's a promise that goes far beyond Kickstarter's platform.
Hang on, before we watch the rest of this,
Most egregious and
I am the biggest fan of the Kerbal Space Program franchise. I played Kerbal Space Program to death when I was younger, right? And for those who know, most of my YouTube, right, before I started taking YouTube seriously, I used to upload Kerbal Space Program videos onto YouTube. I have private them all now, though. But I'll go through them later on today if you guys want. But yeah, like I think I got up to part 200 and something. Like I've made hundreds of videos on it.
Revolting stories of recent times. It really is shameful. For a very long time, Take-Two Interactive were selling Kerbal Space Program 2 early access at full price, and in fact, it is still on Steam in early access at full price.
I think you can still get it now, can't you? Kerbal Space Program 2. I'm sure you can still, you can still buy it for $49.99. No, the last update made by the developers was over 20 months ago. The information and deadline described by the devs here may no longer be up to date. So we've heard nothing.
Just that it's sort of...
I am so glad I didn't buy the game. I was going to buy it. As soon as I found out, Kerbal Space Program 2, great, I'll get my hands straight on that. But something told me behind, like, the back of my head was like, just wait. Don't buy it yet.
Has no real known developer or publisher right now. I mean, it says The Intercept are the people who made it on Steam, but that company doesn't exist anymore. Everybody lost their job. And there's evidence from some internal sources that show just how doomed...
Keep playing it because it sounds like Ash has got the money and ran. So the money going back to players is from Steam to me. Sorry, what do you mean? Keep playing because it sounds like Ash has got the money and ran, so the money... I don't approve of early access in general. It's like playing to test an unfinished product, which sounds shady. Yeah, I'm a bit funny when it comes to early access, but early access has worked in some regards to great success. I mean, Subnautica, it was good because you would play some of the game and it wasn't finished, and then the next update they would do more of the storyline, so you had to play a little bit and then you had to wait until the next update to play some more, which gave you something to look forward to, you know. But then you're about to say Subnautica. Grounded is another. Grounded, I've never played Grounded because I don't like bugs and insects, so I stay away from Grounded. But we waited ages for it until it was finished. But when it finished, though, it was a good game. But once again, you go into this and you get it so that sometimes you get a game in early access and it never finishes. But Steam have put things in place now so you can get that refunded if they break those terms of service. But I don't know if that applies for games before that changed. Yeah, Palworld is in early access as well. Palworld was great even when it first came out.
This project was. Take-Two should be absolutely ashamed of how they have handled this. After the rough launch of KSP2 in mid-2024, Take-Two told the Seattle government that they were laying off staff from the developer called The Intercept. They then publicly denied that they were closing the company. They offered no tangible game updates, even though this game was their responsibility, being currently sold in early access, which is a great way to treat both your staff and your paying customers. But then November saw them admit that actually they did close the studio down. them. Now, this only happened as a part of also admitting that they had sold off their indie publishing label Private Division, but they sold it off to an unknown buyer. We actually still don't know who owns any of this stuff right now. Of course, though, they did lay off most of Private Division's staff before the sale, and that means the sale was likely more about Private Division's like various assets, contracts, IP, that sort of thing. The fact that this game is currently being sold and we don't even know who owns the rights is
Thanks, Raptor.
ridiculous, because that money is going to somebody. It's on Steam, early access, £44.99, enjoying a 12% recent rating and a 34% overall rating.
Is it still bad? Yeah, overwhelmingly negative. Active development has stopped as the studio is shut down and the team was fired. Do not buy this game. It will not be finished. Should be removed from Steam store and everyone refunded. You know what? You can have a reward. That's helpful. Give a award. There you go. Yay.
Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of the company and ageless vampire daddy of AAA gaming, told GameIndustry.biz, quote, "The scale of those projects was candidly on the smaller side, and we're in the business of making great big hits." Yeah, that's why Private Division and The Intercept and Kerbal Space Program are gone. But that is
Let's get ready to rumble. Ready to rumble. Copyright. Sorry.
to treat people and your customers with contempt. This video recently came out. It's really quite gut-wrenching. It's from Nate Simpson, who's the former creative director of Kerbal Space Program 2 at The Intercept. And for very obvious NDA-related reasons, he really was not able to say much. But goddamn, you can see the pain in his eyes throughout this video. You can hear the pain in his voice. It seems.
I feel sorry as well. Like when you've put like all your time and energy into a project, and then for a company to turn around and go, "No, we're closing down now," and no one's gonna like all that hard work that you put in and your blood, sweat, and tears it's never going to happen. It's never going to be finished. Must be upsetting. And the thing is, people look at you and blame you. Yeah?
Time. Now, to summarize things, KSP2 was his dream job, his dream project, and his role was to push the game towards the final shape that he had envisioned, right? Now, he was also the face of the project, especially to the internet, which, given the state of this game, was a fairly hard gig. Basically, he felt the community's desire and frustration very tangibly, being the face of the game, but he did admit and apologize to the rest of his team that he really struggled to balance that. Basically, he apologizes in the video for late night messages and the whole thing being a source of stress. Now, he also recognized in the video that he was sort of the last person there to accept that the studio really was going to close down, at least partially because he was not able to release any information to the public, and that basically meant that there were people, creators, media, etc., who he was talking to, where he kind of just had to go dark on them. Now, he's not bitter to the community or anything in this video. He says that people have been fair and good-natured in their criticisms, but otherwise, he is now another of 2024's over 15,000 laid-off game industry workers.
ISO did not just fire KSP2. I've never played KSP2, but I'll never will. If I want to play Kerbal Space Program, I'll play the original. There's more mods for the original anyway. So
there's been
unless I hear that the game's been picked up by a team or like some update's gonna happen, then I'll play it. I'll buy it and I'll play it. But until then, no, I'll not do anything on it.
Outpouring of sympathy for him, both in the comments, obviously from creators as well, like Shadowzone and Scott Manley. But there's an outstanding question.
Scott Manley. Well, hello, it's Scott Manley here. Does anyone know who Scott Manley is? It's another Scott Manley. This guy, I watched this guy, right, about 10 years ago. I'm still subscribed to him. This guy had some amazing Kerbal Space Program videos. He was just a genius. Where's his most popular videos? Popular. Look at that. Kerbal Space Program, your physics have no power over me. 11 years ago. That's how you got on a KSP. Oh, I love it. I could relate. I could relate to him because obviously, I used to be a DJ. He used to be a DJ.
Hello, it's Scott Manley here with a...
Well, hello, it's Scott. It's like an American Scottish accent. You need I need premium, I know.
Very interesting test rig here. What I have is 4 solid rocket boosters. Now, 2 of them have the land...
I love watching this guy.
Oh, right away. 300 and something G. Unfortunately, we are rotating a little here. It takes a little bit of work to...
I don't know what he's trying to achieve, but like you get the idea though. Like, oh, that brings back some memories.
Certainly, you'll be wondering after watching his video, why the hell did any of this happen? So here's overall what has been put together. Big picture, Kerbal Space Program 2's early development was a just complete corporate disaster. Here's the short version of all of that. So KSP2 was announced in 2019 under the company Star Theory Games, and it was supposed to launch in 2020, which obviously didn't happen. Now,
it could have been such a good game. Kerbal Space Program 2 had so much potential. My God. Oh, pisses me off.
The Intercept, and they waged minor corporate war against Star Theory. Per Bloomberg's reporting, Take-Two were in discussions to purchase Star Theory, but rather than doing that, they simply just hired a third of their staff away from the company to their new team at The Intercept, who of course had the Kerbal Space Program 2 gig. Then Star Theory, having just lost a third of their staff and the project that was sustaining their company, well, they shut down the very same year.
I'll have none of this. It's a shit game stuff, right? Yeah. I'll have none of that. Yeah.
A really lovely, happy way to reboot the
just cause you can't even make it to space.
The game. KSP2 was then delayed into 2023 with the intention of hitting feature parity with KSP1 before then building out like the full early access experience. None of that obviously went well, but it's the generally known take on events. Now things got a little more interesting when in mid-2024, a long-time Kerbal Space Program creator, Shadowzone, went in pretty deep. And here's a summary, definitely get more from his video, but a summary of what went on. So initially, the pitch to Star Theory was small scale. It was $10 million in 2 years to iterate on Kerbal Space Program. People on the project, like the creative director Nate, were quite ambitious. They were thinking, okay, we got Kerbal 1, how do we push this thing forward? They thought about interstellar travel, they even thought about having colonies and planets. Now the thing is, Take-Two did not change the budget or the timescale to match this vision. It seems that vision was then bought onto, and then they were held back by the Take-Two contract from further hiring so they could scale up the project. Now, Shadowzone then suggests that NDA and corporate secrecy meant that this team, very much an indie scale team, actually couldn't advertise for quite some time that they were working on Kerbal Space Program stuff, and that
banana
get engineers with the knowledge that we needed. And it's funny, but one of the reasons why in the games industry companies often announce projects way in advance is because they want to hire people for that project. Especially, right, whenever we had a tight labor market, as we did a few years ago. One example is Ubisoft's Splinter Cell tease. That whole thing was basically just, we've greenlit a Splinter Cell, please come and join us. Obviously, who knows how that's going. Anyway, this seemingly then extended to the company not actually being able to talk to Kerbal Space Program 1
Hello, farmer. Welcome on in. How are you doing? I made a dick rocket to space. My mission is complete. Right, okay, get that dick rocket, right? Okay, get the dick rocket, send it to the moon, land on the moon, and then send it back. And then talk to me again. Do that now, right now. I want to see it. Yeah. Can I drop a video? If you have a video suggestion for us to react to, feel free to put it in the suggestions section in the Discord server.
Developers, or even get guidance from those developers, in spite of something kind of crazy from management, which was a plan to replicate all of the features from Kerbal Space Program 1 and then being required to reuse Kerbal Space Program 1 code instead of rebuilding, which is very strange. You can absolutely see how, if you were trying to be real quick and scrappy, you could do that. I can see management making a call like that, but if you're scoping your project much higher, sure.
So what they basically did was they just got Kerbal Space Program 1 and then just built Kerbal Space Program 2 on top of it. So effectively, Kerbal Space Program 2, you could say, is just a modded KSP 1. Yeah.
Rewriting some things, solving old technical debt that's probably been carried around in that project for years and years, surely that would be worth it, especially if you're going to end up carrying it all into early access where you really will need to be.
Yeah, let's see. If you just pop that into the suggestion section in Discord, just so my mods can check that over first before I see it. Just so we know it's not inappropriate, you know.
Just showing people that you're actually able to ship content. You need that technical debt to be gone.
Stream friendly.
It seems crazy that they were just kind of forced to use old code. That seems odd to me. So that was the pretty horrible early stage of things. This apparently continued whenever the Intercept took over from Star Theory, and they were given a hard release date of 2023. Early access was obviously a call made to lower expectations. Nowhere near enough, especially for the price that that game is being sold for. Now, the post-launch story is very simple and very sad. Teams got slashed, they got restructured, the game was basically never really given a chance to deliver, and then Take-Two stripped Private Division, the publishing label, handling all of this for parts, and they closed down the Intercept. Kerbal Space Program 2 to them was simply a bet that did not pay off, but one that was meaningless to them given the overall scale they operate at. But what if I told you there's other people who are trying to take the right path? Because turns out there is.
I've heard about this Kitten Space Agency. You should hello Xops, welcome in. You should see what Surviving Mars did. Repackaged all previous DLC, upscaled it, charged more for it, and new DLC is coming with it. I've heard about that, but isn't the new Surviving Mars? They've redone it, but it's cheaper if you own the other versions, isn't it? They should have just if they just did like a DLC for saying like, okay, this is a DLC, but it's just the upscale DLC. I would have accepted that maybe, but yeah, maybe. The Pickle Pepsi is peak. Yes, but if you want me to react to it, you'll have to put it in the Discord server.
Creator of DayZ, Dean Hall, has actually got a studio called Rocketworks. They actually pitched for the Kerbal Space Program 2 gig, right? But per his telling of the story anyway, they didn't land the gig because they focused almost entirely on the technical aspects of the project, rather than basically doing a very art-led pitch. Now, those on the call from the publisher didn't really like that. The implication is that KSP2 was supposed to be like full-fledged big brand energy so that they could have merch, toys, all of those things. So the visuals really matter.
You know what annoys me as well though about this, right? After everything kicked off with Kerbal Space Program, right? After it got cancelled, well, it's technically not cancelled, but it's in development, but never coming to light, right? Where is it? They started selling bloody merch. They started selling merch after all this. I was like, oh, Discord link is invalid. If you go to, I'll type it in for you. Actually, I'll type it in. It's discord.parkenev.com. That should work.
His studio was coming in and basically saying a whole bunch of
and Fluffy, thank you very much for the lurk.
It made loads of sense for development, and it absolutely seems that some of the scrappy reuse of code didn't really help the project that ended up happening.
You could save money on your
bloody adverts.
Mobile bills.
But yeah, they started selling merch like it was like what was it? It was like fluffy toys and stuff, and it's like, are you seriously trying to scam everyone from the game? And then you're going to scam everyone from buying a game that's never going to come out, and then you're going to then continue to throw merch at people to try and promote it more, even though it's never coming out, or it might come out, but not in the next 10 bloody years. So, ooh.
Because Rocketworks is right now developing KSA, Kitten Space Agency.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
Former Kerbal Space Program developers and modders. Now,
it's basically instead of Kerbals, it's kitties. It's great.
Started their project. Their big focus is on technical performance and scalability. The gamier elements basically will come second.
I might play this.
It does make sense given the draw of this game. Obviously, it needs to not be soulless, but I mean, come on, it's a rocketry simulation. You need to have that stuff technically right. So their first focus is a single solar system that can effectively be swapped out or just iterated on by modders. And as for the kittens, basically comedy. I mean, there's definitely something to be said for Cats Have 9 Lives and us blasting.
Where's Kitten Space? Is this Kitten Space Agency? I think they changed it because it used to be Kitten Space Program, but now it's Kitten Space Agency.
Finally, Saturn has rings in Kitten Space Agency, and they are a solar system that is not all of the potential.
Look at it. It's basically Kerbal Space Program.
Also show you some of them in Kitten Space Agency and analyze them, but also drop hanging around and floating around there.
And a bit more complicated teams as well. Where do I drop the link? Just go to the suggestions section. Current game I'm playing and enjoying is Bellwright. Bellwright? I've never heard of Bellwright. Rocketworks is the guy that does Station 8. Rocketwrights? Oh, hang on.
Backstory time. Kerbal Space Program is a good game. If you've never heard of it, I would definitely recommend it. Kerbal Space Program 2 is a successor anyway. After KS...
Oh, Rocketworks... the Rocketworks is like the dev team, got you. Thank you very much, Raptor. Much appreciated. Well, I'll put that in. We'll put that in, but I'll wait for a moment. We'll watch this.
Kittens all over the place into space. Being lighthearted was a core part of why Kerbal...
It's on Steam. I'll check that out in a moment.
So much of it was glorious failure and rocket explosions, and so we're left with two projects that are extremely different where the contrast really does matter. Here, they're focusing on a crazy thing called solid technical foundations in the name of Project Health. It ain't sexy, but it works. They're not just quickly reusing the KSP1 codebase, slapping a few features on and thinking they can drive some tasty shareholder returns for the company that owns Grand Theft Auto and the absolute banger factory that is Zynga. But there is still a bit of a mystery. Kerbal Space Program 2, because you may have noticed it's still on Steam. Somebody owns Private Division, and that means they own Kerbal Space Program 2. That is, this is one of the weirdest final sections to a video I've done, because the game is for sale right now. Somebody is getting money, right? There's a Steam publisher account. Money's going into it. And nobody knows who owns that account, or who has access any of that. So... What is this? Is the buyer doing the game development equivalent of just purchasing a struggling business to try and turn it around? Is this house flipping Steam edition? Don't really know.
House flipping Steam edition. Currently, they're using AI voices for the NPCs, but in further development, they're going to get full voice actors and all the NPCs. Well, that's good. See, that I would say that's a good use of AI. Where if you're going to use AI, especially in a game, use it as a temporary measure, but make sure that you do get, real voice actors. I approve of that. Yeah.
Obviously a poisoned chalice. Now, handled right, that crisis, well, that could be an opportunity, because you're not the person who made all of those mistakes. You could be the person who acquired this asset, got a team together, fixed Kerbal Space Program 2, and away you go. You could be that. I don't really think it's that likely, and let's be real, does anyone want a Steam page with 34% and 12%? Like 12% their recent review scores?
No.
Very hard to rehabilitate that game. Nobody really knows. So all of this leaves.
It has so much development, man. It has so much potential. I need a Kerbal Space Program 2.
Developers who have been messed around, scathing reviews, and fans who were sold a false promise for a shockingly high price.
Sorry, let's go back to the original video that we're watching.